Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for coming in. I know it's mandatory and all, but this is kind of cool. Anyway, once again, my name is Wilsena Ann Vine. I am a Navajo woman. What I'm going to be showing you is the Navajo Kinaalda that happened in July with my baby sister. She's actually the final one in our group to go to this ceremony, so it's kind of fresh material. There are some older pictures in there of my other sister. I couldn't find any of me, so that's good. What I'm going to show you first is the thought process behind this. In the beginning, there were the spirit world. In the article, I think that was posted on Blackboard, basically gave you a little summary of in the beginning and how the canal came to be to this present day. Basically, what it was performed for changing women, so that way it would give her the ability to have children. So this was in the spirit world. From there, most of our thoughts and stuff go back to the spirit world. So this day and age, we like to continue with that, and that's how we do the Kinaalda. So here is my sister. She is I'll call her changing woman. She's just a normal kid. She's grown up in San Diego. She really is urbanized. She's not really strong on the traditions, but this is something that our family thought was important. So this is how, with the jewelry and everything put on, this is the final product. But this is just jumping ahead a little bit. We'll start back. Day one, girl comes up and says, "Guess what, Mom? Something happened." So from there, it's just a big deal. It's very important to pretty much get the first menstrual cycle, because that's when you're at your purest. You are, the first changing woman of our little group. So what happens is everybody gets in a tizzy and starts gathering all their jewelry, all their blankets, gets a medicine man to perform this ceremony. Ceremony is done in a hogan. I don't know if you guys have heard of that before, but it's a traditional Navajo. I would say a ceremonial place. Some people do still live in them, but it's just basically where ceremonies are held. At that moment in time, the mother of the changing woman picks the ideal woman, which is basically your godmother. It could be anybody that the mother feels is important, has strong values, is educated, somebody that you want your child to strive for. So usually it's like an aunt or just somebody in the community that's very traditional. That's what we try and pick. So now, with the young woman being starting in her little menses, we will shed her of her urban clothes and we will dress her in more traditional. So if somebody would just give me a little hand, we will dress Molly as our changing woman. So we will call you Ideal Woman, but you will also change to Changing Woman later. So what we are doing is we are dressing our changing woman now. The aunts and the godmothers and all the women of the community would come over to the hogan and we would dress her. But at the time we were doing that, we would sing. We would sing Navajo songs and little prayers. And while we were dressing her, just basically trying to summon the ancestors to watch over her for the next 4 days, make sure she gets all the good luck, make sure that in her future endeavors, she will prosper, basically. So we are singing right now. And at this time, she's also being instructed of the things to do and not to do. She's got 4 days of being, I would say, not her normal self. She would have to be respectful to the earth, to insects, birds, anything. She's got to respect herself. No bad thoughts, no bad words against herself or anybody else. She's not too, how can I put it? She's basically supposed to be holy this whole time. One more time. This is to just basically in the future, once again, mold her into being somebody that you would want to be, a good role model, basically. Perfect. Awesome. So with that, you would put on the traditional clothes. You would also get the jewelry out. You would also wash her hair with yucca in a basket like this. Now, what would happen is after she's, disrobed and everything, put on the new clothes, we're going to cleanse her. And the hair is the most important part because some religions think that your hair is the holiest part of your body. So we would wash this in yucca. So what they would do is put the basket down, get a strand of yucca, and just kind of wring it out. And it kind of makes a shampoo. So you would just get that water and just basically wash her hair in it. She would just lie down, wash it like you would any old way. And then you would tie it up in a traditional bun. We would usually tie it up with this. You would just go in a little bun, your hair would be up. And we'd also have a piece of buckskin, which is really long. I don't know if you can see it in one of the pictures, but it's really long. And what it's basically supposed to do is to leave a trail behind you. Your hair should be long. Everything behind you is beauty. Everything behind you is, sacred. And basically, your whole area here is going to be sacred. You are magic. You are, you are the ancestors. So after all the dressing is done, jewelry goes on. So we'll put the jewelry on Molly. Now this is just a modest amount of jewelry. They kind of like to put a lot on you because it makes you stronger. One of the pictures shows that there's like 6 strands of this. I mean, it is super heavy. Also on your arms, you would have 2 bracelets on each arm. These are pretty heavy. You would have 2 bracelets on each arm and a ring on these 2 fingers. Those 2 fingers. All the other fingers you're not allowed to put rings on. But all of that, plus your clothes, plus, just being in your menses, is not very, the child's unhappy basically, because you're making them do this, they're not really accustomed to it, but within an hour they're in, which is weird, they're in there, where they're supposed to be. It's kind of actually weird. But yeah, this probably weighs about 40 pounds, and you have to run in it. So after we have dressed Changing Woman, I will just place this right here. After we have dressed her, she is going to run with all this stuff on. Now, the reason for the running is it's supposed to build endurance. It doesn't have to be too far. It just every day you're going to strive a little bit further. Like in life, you strive a little bit further every day. So her first run is going to be in the outfit with the moccasins on, which current day they kind of alternate between tennis shoes and moccasins because it's kind of hard to run in these. So moccasins will go on her and she will run. She will exit out of the hogan, which is facing the east always, and she will run east into the sun. And just pretty much as far as she wants to. She can do, a couple steps, or she can do quarter mile. I've heard of girls going 5 miles, and that's because they're striving right there, so they're running. So after that, she just goes on her run, comes back, goes back into the hogan, and she's pretty much done for that day. She's going to do another run at noon when the sun is not quite so high. It's going to be right above high noon. Within this time span of sunrise and say about 11-ish, that's kind of like the holier time because the spirits are still out, the ancestors. So with that, they start digging the hole where she's going to bake her cake. This cake is done on the 4th day. It's basically the cake, as you read in your thing, is a symbol. It symbolizes basically her. She's the cornmeal. She's everything made into this. So here, it's not really a big hole. I would say it's probably about this size round, and it's basically supposed to feed a small community. The original planning was, for family. Basically now, it's given out to the helpers, the people that come and celebrate and partake in the celebration. Where'd I put it? I lost it. Yeah.
Maybe it's under the white.
It could be. Where? Oh, there we go. All right. Basically, here's another picture of the hole. After the hole is dug, they build a fire in it. The fire kind of makes it hard inside, so it's not as mushy. This is where you're going to bake your cake in the earth. The fire starts off on the first day and goes all the way to the fourth day, basically from hardening it, making like a little oven, to actually cooking the cake. Usually, nobody special makes the hole. It's just dug by anybody. You know, no special thing is done to it. Okay, we are on to day 2. Basically, day 1, after she's put on the outfit, she can basically go on with her everyday duties. She can go back to school if she needs to. She can, you know, she can basically do whatever she wants. Day 2 is pretty much the same way. She will wake up at sunrise, go out for her run farther than she did the day before, come back, and the same at noon. So days 2 and 3 are really kind of slow. She's basically just trying not to disturb harmony around her. She's basically just laying low and just sitting there, you know, enjoying life. This basically is a picture I threw in. Well, of course, this is me right here. And these are my aunts. It's not that uncommon for us to dress up just for ceremonies, Thanksgiving, weddings, just get together. It's, you know, it's a lot of clothes, but it's kind of fun. This day 3, we change our changing woman. So she went from a blue outfit to a white outfit, just to basically freshen you up. You've done a lot the last couple days. Basically, the third day too, we were also telling her what's going to happen on day 4. Day 4 is going to be her busiest day. She's going to have to, once again, run a little further. She's going to have to basically be the attention of everybody that is there. So we kind of put them in their best clothes on the third day, you know, same jewelry, same everything. You can't really switch that stuff once it's put on, just the outfit itself. Day 4. Day 4 is where, once again, she will wake up in the morning, go out for her run, come back, and then just relax a little bit. She will probably take some naps today because on the 4th night, she's actually going to stay up all night with the medicine man, and he will sing over her. You know, then from there, she is done with her ceremony. So at noon, she will run again. But today, she will actually grind her corn to make her cake. Now, since we're more modernized now, we can actually go and buy this already ground up. But my grandma is a traditionalist, and she actually makes us grind it. So 2 big black garbage bags is what we are to grind to make our cake. So that basically takes all day with the help of, I would say, probably 12 aunts to do this. So you're basically, she's using a flat piece of stone. You just kind of lay it out. It's probably the size of like a, I don't know, tablet. And you've got this rock that you're basically just sitting there grinding this. You get a small handful of corn, put it on there, and just keep grinding it until it's a fine powder. You got to figure each handful probably grind, you know, is like 1/4 of a cup. So you've got a long day's worth of work to get those 2 trash bags full of corn. But like I said, today it's more modernized. So really the elders will just make you do a little bit and then done. There's some more pictures here. Basically, after she is done grinding, you're gonna put it in a big pile on the floor, and she's gonna bless it. So what she's gonna do is she's gonna bless it in the 4 directions. So she's gonna first start off with her east. So she's gonna stand to the east, grab the pile, and just basically pile it up into a mountain. And she's going to do it with each direction, basically just blessing it with her hands, you know, as she is still holy, and just doing that, making a big pile. And from there, she's going to start mixing it into a batter. Now, the batter is basically just, it's hot water. Some people nowadays add vanilla and raisins just to modernize it up. It's actually pretty good. But you would that whole pile of corn has to be blended into a batter. So what the ladies do is you would take your sticks and you would basically just sit on the floor like that and just stir. Somebody, well, it's usually a man that comes by and just keeps adding corn to your water, and you're just stirring. You're stirring for hours on end, because it's really got to be a consistency of, let's say, cream of wheat. So it starts out as oatmeal, and you got to turn it into cream of wheat. And you're just sitting there in this hot little hogan, because the heat has to be on. It's sacred time. You're sitting there sweating, you're stirring, you're grumpy. But this could go on. Actually, I think this took us about 6 hours. So we started at like 11-ish. We got done at like 4. So 5 hours of just everybody sitting there stirring, trading off. You know, it was pretty crazy. Here we are stirring again. This is actually the most recent one, where that's pretty much all we do. We just sit and stir. But I mean, it's also a way to bring everybody together, because we were actually sharing stories, you know, about previous Kinaaldas and just sharing things about our family. So it's basically a time to bring you together, which was actually pretty good, seeing as, you know, we don't get together that often. After all this batter is done and it's just in buckets on the floor, we are going to go back to the hole that's in the ground. Now, right now, this hole has been burning for 3 days. So it's nice and warm, it's nice and hot. It is basically a natural oven. I mean, if you jumped in it would be hot. So what we're doing now is we're putting corn husks in there. Now, the corn husks got to be put in certain directions. Of course, you got to start off with your yeast, and you're going to lay them flat. And you're basically sewing it in a pattern around, and it basically just goes around until it reaches the bottom of this thing. It covers it. Then you're basically going to dump each one of your batters into that. And you're probably going to make it about, I would say, that thick all around. That probably takes about an hour. Changing woman basically just stands there and just watches everybody do this, because they're doing this for her. So she just stands there with her basket and her blanket and just watches and makes sure that it's done correctly. After this is all done, another row of husks is done on the top to basically like a pan. You've got your pan, you've got your lid. That's what the husks are. So what it does, it basically just traps in the heat. And from there, after everything is put in, right here, she is putting corn pollen in the 4 directions to bless her cake, to bless herself, to bless everybody that has helped her out during this. And basically just to wish everybody good luck, you know, with their lives, with all their future endeavors. So she's going to go, you know, east, west, south, north, do a circle around. And in her basket, she has got the corn pollen that isn't mixed. She's got a little bit of it. So everybody at this time, after she is done with this, can reach in and do each of their little blessings, you know, bless my kids, you know, bless, you know, give me some money, lotto numbers, whatever. You know, whatever you want, good for you, that's the time to do it. Do your blessings. Now, after the corn pollen and the corn husks are done, we basically just rip up paper bag, lay it on top of it, and put dirt on it. Now, this is basically just trapping in the heat, because it's going to sit overnight and bake. So once the dirt is thrown on top, we're actually going to put ashes and build a fire on top of this, so that way it just keeps the temperature, keeps it warm, keeps it from, you know, just not cooking, basically. You want this to cook. You want it to be ready tomorrow morning at sunrise, because that's where it's going to be dispersed to everybody. Okay, let me go back. After this is done, let's say it's around about 4-ish, she's going to take a little nap, and the medicine man is going to show up now. And this is where he's going to spend the whole night up with her and her family, or whoever really wants to come in and sing, and they are going to stay up all night. They are going to basically do prayers for her, basically, you know, making sure she's, you know, within her natural way, make sure that she makes good decisions. Just basically, you know, a church to just praise somebody. We are praising her. During that time, she's basically just going to sit on the floor, just sit up straight as a board, feet straight out. I'll actually show this right now. I will show you how she will be sitting. So now ideal woman is changing woman. And she is going to be sitting in the hogan.
Just extra credit.
So she will be sitting legs straight out, hands right here, back straight, looking straight ahead at the east. And she will not move the whole time the ceremony is done. Yeah, you can't smell. And basically the medicine man will sing over her. You know, he will stretch her, he will do things to her, he will, do things, you will be tall, you'll be smart, he'll basically pray around her. She will be able actually to get up. She'll be able to get up 4 times. So after one song is done, she will get up, wrap herself in the blanket, basically just throwing this over your shoulders. And she will walk out of the hogan. She will, look to the east, and she will just stand there and listen. Hoping not to hear anything, because if you hear something, you go back inside and tell the medicine man. But usually all 3 of us have not heard anything. I don't know what happens if you do. Owl, coyote, whatever. As far as I know, none of us have heard anything. I don't know what happens if you do. So we didn't hear anything. So that's good. So basically she will continue to do that for 3 more times. And then by that time, it will be just before sunup, and she is going to do her final hair washing. She's going to have her body stretched as we put you back on the floor. She will be stretched, and this is another way that we want her to grow. We want her to, be strong. We want her to be tall. So we will pull on all of her limbs. We'll just pull on her. We will massage her. She will be strong. She'll be tall. Her hair will be long. That's basically it. But they really pound on her, so I'm just doing the quick version. But yeah, you are really, the grandmothers and the aunties, they will yank on you and just make sure that you are getting the best that they can offer. So right now, you will get up and do your final run. So when you come back in, basically the ceremony is over. You have completed your 4 days, and now it is time to cut some cake. So what the gentlemen will do is they will basically take the ashes off of that and just as best as they can, try not to get dirt on it. So they're carefully removing all the stuff from the top and leaving the layer of corn on there and just basically letting it cool. Because if you that thing is hot, so you gotta let it cool for a while. So basically after the ceremony's done, she's just kind of sitting there, still looking that way, straight. Until she's told to come out. And at that time, she's told to come out. She's got her blanket, and she's standing in her east position, holding her basket, and she's just basically watching again, overlooking what's going on. That's basically after a night of staying up all night. She's exhausted, so this is what she would look like. Basically now, while she is standing there, the aunts and the uncles are right here. They are slowly peeling off the layer of corn husks. You've got the cake, which is done. The cake is cut in a ceremonial way. You start from the east, and you do it in a circle. And you slowly cut it until you get to the middle piece. Now, the middle piece is the most important because that goes to the medicine man. He is the one that is making this woman, important. So he gets the prime piece, which is in the middle. All the other pieces can go to the helpers, anybody that comes by to visit. It's basically just distributed to anybody. There's no, there's no special person or whatever. Everybody gets a piece. But she is not allowed to have that because this was made by her and it is supposedly made from her. So she will not be eating herself per tradition. So yeah, she's not allowed to partake in her own cake. Now she can have somebody else's cake, but not hers. So we all get a piece of the cake. It kind of tastes like cornbread, but not as sweet. So if you take the sweetness out of cornbread, that's what this tastes like. It's about that thick. And usually we try and hand out a brick-sized chunk. where you can eat half of it, and you would save a little bit in your freezer or in your cupboard, whatever, because that's going to keep you from going hungry. That little piece of cake there. I have a big chunk in my freezer. I actually should have brought it, so I'm really not going hungry because it's like that big. But after she's done dispersing that, she goes back in the hogan, and this is where the children around will come in, and they'll get goodies. I mean, we have just buckets full of candy, cookies, juice boxes, just any kind of snack. It's kind of like Halloween, where you just have buckets of just junk food. Little kids line up, and you just give it to them. This is Changing Woman offering, you know, basically. Back then it would be corn or vegetables. Now it's just candy, it's junk food. And so, you know, it's just handed out to the children first, and then the teenagers, then the adults. Whoever comes over gets an offering. So it's really, it's kind of an expensive ceremony if you really think about it, but that's just because we've made it that way. If we would have gone back to our traditional days, everybody would be getting, you know, vegetables. But now we've kind of modernized it to make it a little bit, you know, more convenient for everybody. But after that, she's done. She's dispersed her cake. She's now ready to go back into society. So what we did for her was we basically kept her out of school for 2 days. But she did stay in her traditional outfit, because we wanted her to actually go through the 7-day process. Because when I did mine, I only did mine for 4 days, and I had to go back to school. My younger sister, but between us two, same thing. We had ours during school time, and back then it wasn't, there was a lot of explaining as to why you're going to take off school and go do a ceremony. It wasn't very, you know, it was just questionable. Like, what's the ceremony? Have to explain it, do the dance. Now, it seems like if you just say, look, I'm going back, it's a religious ceremony, no questions asked. You know, it's a lot different times now. So she got to experience the whole 7 days. And here's me, actually. This is me 25 years ago during my ceremony. Oh, yeah, that's not cute. But yeah, 25 years ago. Basically, the hogan that you see back here, let's see if you can find it. Well, basically now the same hogan that I had my ceremony in, my sister had hers in too. So these things pretty much, they last forever. I mean, occasionally you'll throw some more dirt on the top or seal up the sides, but it's basically the same house. My grandfather does ceremonies in there. He's a medicine man. You know, that's basically, that is like our church. I have 2 videos I want to show you.
You may have to go over to the computer
And get them?
yeah.
Okay. Now these 2 videos are basically of her runs that she took in the morning. Well, I took these basically in the evening, because I wasn't going to wake up that early to film it. Let's see here. Nope, it's not working. No, is it? No. Oh.
Oh, there it is.
Basically, this is at noon before this, you know, gets high noon. She's inside, and here she's coming out. Now, we usually tell them to run, but she chose not to run because she didn't want to fall. If you fall or any of your jewelry falls off, it's supposed to be bad luck. So she was playing it cool. She was walking. As you can tell, she's not wearing her moccasins. She's wearing tennis shoes because she really was, she did not want to fall, so she was just keeping it, you know, kind of casual. The children following behind her, basically they are going to, when they're following, they will yell to summon the spirits. They will yell, away, and they will just, well, basically they're supposed to do that, but they're not. Just to draw the attention of everybody. Look at this woman here. You know, she's new, she's fresh. You know, just basically we want to draw as much attention to her as we can, because the spirits will, you know, will grace her. Oh, you know, there goes, you know, a new woman. You know, we got to grace her. So basically, this is, I think it's her 2nd or 3rd run, where basically she's just going down, and she's going to pick something on the ground to circle. She's going to either pick a small bush, a new shrub, or maybe even a rock. So she's going to see that rock, she's going to go around it, and then she's going to proceed back to the hogan. So here she is running back. And all the while, everybody's screaming. Basically it's look at me, look at me. So she runs back.
So if you fall, what happens?
You pick yourself up and just keep going. As far as I know, nobody's fallen, but basically, something's gonna have bad luck. It's bad luck. Go under a ladder, bad luck. Black cat, bad luck. It could be old wives' tales. We don't know, but we're not gonna question it. Grandma says don't do it. I won't do it. That's my mom, by the way. She's not running either. But yeah, basically after she runs in, everybody basically goes clockwise around the hogan and then comes out. After the days are done, she's a Native woman. She's going to be held to a different standard. She needs to know her role in the Native society. She's a woman. She's to have kids. She's to get educated. Basically, she's going to continue on with her holiness. Don't disrespect people. Don't disrespect Mother Nature. Right now, this generation, we're really trying to push the education. Back when I was, when I did mine, it seemed like there was not that much of an emphasis on that. It was basically just, be more traditional, stick with the ways. And I noticed that I actually am more traditional than my siblings. I'm the one that, said we have to do this. I'm the one that goes to ceremonies and, takes the kids with me. It's just something, I'm the traditional one. So she'll be a smart one. But other than that, we all, from here, just go on our paths. We've all actually chosen 3 different things. I've kind of tried to test the theory of each 3 of us. We're all told different 3 things and done our ceremonies 3 different ways. We are actually all 3 totally different people. And each one of our ideal persons, our godmothers, we're turning out exactly like them. Which is weird. It's kind of scary because I thought, no, that's a load of crap. But we actually are turning into our godparents. So I was like, yikes. So if I happen to have a daughter, I need to find a really good, godmother, somebody rich, somebody. Oprah. Oprah will be, my child's godmother. But yeah, that's after that. We just go back to what we're doing. Back to school, back to work. Everybody back to the urban lifestyle until another ceremony comes up, another child has a Kinaalda, another wedding. It could be anything. Change of season, ceremony, we all try and go back. So with that, questions?
It looked like the hogan was painted blue. Is that?
Yeah, that's actually the modernized version now. Basically, as time weathers it on, they're just going to keep smacking stuff on it. So if you removed all that blue, like plywood, it would be the original house.
I thought it was like maybe painted for something different.
It's just blue. Somebody got crazy with the blue and just painted it. If you go out to the Navajo reservation, you'll see houses painted just odd different colors, and it really doesn't signify anything. It's just paint. They were just painting to paint. It's the res way. It's kind of weird. But yeah, they're not, they don't, it's not like out here where everything's got to be perfect. Out there, it seems like they don't, it's not important to them. There was another question somewhere?
Yeah, at what age do you do the ceremony?
Whenever you have your first period. I mean, it could be now, but they're having them at 11.
At 9.
Yes. So, I mean, mine was my sister was 13, and I was 12, and my middle sister was 12. So it's probably in the beginning of the teen years, but like she said, it's getting earlier and earlier now. And it's also a choice of the parents if they want this to be done. There are some Native girls that don't have this ceremony done. Whether it be time, they're away from the reservation or whatever, they just let it go. So it's kind of a dying tradition.
How big is the cake? Does it feed everybody or?
The cake is probably, it's probably this big, and if you rounded this, it would be that big. So it would feed this class. It would probably feed maybe 2 or 3 classes. Because you got to remember, you're only getting a brick size. So everybody gets a little brick. And then from there, it gets broken off even more. You share it with your family. So it can actually feed a lot of people. It just depends how you break it down.
What's a more important celebration for like the woman, a Kinaalda or a wedding?
Kinaalda, because you are coming the woman to get married.
Is there any type of fasting during this time frame?
No, she can pretty much, okay, well, I can't say she can pretty much eat whatever she wants, but she can't eat meat. She can't have salt. That's the way it's supposed to happen, but as things change, she ate meat. She had hamburgers. You know, it just depends on how stern I would say grandma is. Because when I did mine, my grandma was, no, do it by the book. You don't do anything. Now grandma's like, whatever. So yeah, like I said, she had hamburgers. She drank soda. Supposedly if you drink soda or have sweets, your teeth are going to fall out. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah, just most of these little things I've come to believe that are kind of wives' tales or scare tactics. Like, don't eat sugar because your teeth are going to fall out. You know, back then they didn't have toothbrushes, dentists, whatever. So I think, it was just ways to try and keep you from losing your hair, your teeth, getting fat, being lazy, those sort of things. Yes?
Did they have anything for like boys?
Supposedly there is a ceremony for boys. It's basically a sweat lodge ceremony. The uncles would take the young boys and they would basically take them into the sweat lodge, which is, I don't know if you guys know what a sweat lodge is. It's basically just like a dirt mound with a little hole in it, like an igloo. It's like a dirt igloo. And basically you would crawl into this little sweat lodge and you build a little fire in there. And what the uncle is supposed to do is he's supposed to share the man ways with you. You hunt, you get a mate, you have children, you support your family. That has kind of died off a long time ago. But when we had this ceremony, we were talking about it. We were talking about, we only have one uncle left. And we were thinking maybe he should be the one to pass down Grandpa's knowledge and just try and get more stuff out there so the younger generation knows about it. Because the women, I would say there are more ceremonies for women, and they're more submerged in traditions, where men are going to be the medicine men, and that's pretty much, you're a medicine man or you're a sheep herder or a silversmith. Those are the 3 old traditions and occupations you could have had. Right now it's really up to the uncles to teach this tradition and just lead them down the right path. But I don't know if that's coming back or not. I mean, it'd be nice if it would.
And when you say uncle, you mean your mother's brother?
Yes.
Yeah, they understand.
Yeah. My mother's brother would basically do that, and of course all the aunts would do this. Basically, every girl in a family should go through this ceremony. We have 42 cousins. I think only 3 of them have not had this ceremony done, but they, were brought up on the East Coast. So once again, it's hard for them to come back and, take a week off and have a ceremony. But as far as I know, they're doing fine. They're educated. They have good jobs. So maybe somewhere inside of them, just believing in it got them to where they are.
Do people, when a woman doesn't go through the Kinaalda, are they looked at differently, or?
No, not really, because how are they going to know? I mean, it's not openly known. I mean, I could have not had mine and nobody would have known. They probably don't even know I exist. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, she didn't have her Kinaalda. It's not like anything that's shared around. I mean, you go to the ceremony, the people that were there know you did it. Other people in the society, it's not that important. I mean, you'll still get married, you'll still go to college, you'll still get Native friends, and you're still going to ceremonies. You're not shunned away if you do or don't do this. It's just something that, we as Native people feel should happen. Anything else?
When you do like the blessings or the ceremonies, like do you speak English or is it like?
Nowadays, it is in English, but the medicine man will sing his songs in Navajo, but he will narrate in English. Every time the song ended, he would tell her exactly what the song meant, why she's doing this, and which spirit, when she goes outside, you got the east, this spirit's going to come and bless you. Back inside, back outside, spirit from the west is going to bless you. So he was sharing his knowledge with her because my generation is trying to give back to the younger ones. So he was doing a great job at doing English and Navajo with her, teaching her exactly what it was. And I learned a lot from it, a lot I didn't know because my ceremony was all done in Navajo. So I understand very little Navajo, so I was basically just, do this, do that. And, my mom was getting upset, and my grandma was like, yeah, do this. And I can't understand a word my grandma says, so I was really I was like the guinea pig to this whole experiment of the urban native coming back and doing this. But, it turned out fine. I understood it. I take direction well. Anything else?
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Do girls train at all for the ceremony, like when they run?
I think the girl that ran 5 miles probably did. I'm pretty sure she trained. The mothers around, let's say, now it's like 10, 11, 12. We were actually waiting for her to have her period. We were, we wanted to do this because this is actually the last child in our little family. And we wanted to do it right. We wanted to do it perfectly, nice outfits, just everything. We're going to build this child up. So I would say there is planning involved in it. When you have a daughter, you know that this is going to happen during her teenage years. There is planning in the back of your mind. Because all three of us, my sister, myself, my mom, we're just waiting for this. And once it happened, we left here. We left here at like 4 in the morning. Drove all the way to Arizona. Along the way, picked up all this stuff, groceries and stuff. The next morning, got her all ready. So yeah, we were on it. We were going to show everybody, hey, we know our stuff. So, yes.
Will the Navajo do the same thing as the Apaches will? Will they have more than one girl doing the ceremony together?
No, one at a time. Each one is going to have a different ceremony because each, it's an individual. We can't clump them together and do it as a herd. One person special at a time. Now, we can have one from this clan and another from this clan, but they're not going to be joined. Their ceremonies are not going to be at the same time, or can join together where they run at the same time. 2 different locations, 2 different ceremonies, 2 different clans. Okay.
Very different from the Apaches.
Yeah, because like I said, this we want to focus on one person, not on like 2 or 3. But the helpers here will go help over there. We'll go back and forth, but these 2 will never meet until afterwards. Okay. Anything else?
I got a few questions.
Okay.
So you said your sister was in, you all live over here.
Yeah, we all live out here. My grandmother and a small handful of my aunts and cousins still live on the Navajo reservation. I would say probably 3 times a year we do go back. We spend about a week out there just to get recentered and just, get back to family. With Facebook now and everything, we do get to communicate with them more. Phone, all that stuff. Our communication level has gone up more thanks to technology. But once again, grandma's technology bad. But, she's slowly, she wants to talk to us. She'll call us on the phone or she'll have somebody call us. But she's actually fascinated by the pictures because usually every time I would come over, I'd bring a photo album, show her the pictures of the family and stuff. Now, just put it on the computer, and she gets to scan. So she's actually fascinated by it.
Did your sister, since she was in public school here, did any of her friends at her school know that she was going through this?
No, she didn't share it. I didn't share mine with my friends either, and neither did my sister. Reasoning as to why, I don't know. Well, okay, the reasoning why I didn't share it with my friends was back in the 80s. I was kind of embarrassed, you could say, because different. You know, I was the only Navajo in my class, in my school, basically. So basically, I mean, I was clumped in with the Hispanics, and that's kind of how it was back then. Either they didn't have the different categories for Alaskan, Native American, stuff like that, so we were just kind of clumped in. I kind of just laid low, you know, okay, I'm taking a week off, I'm gonna go and do this thing, but I'll be back, you know. So I kind of kept it secret. I didn't wear any jewelry, I didn't, you know, don anything. Neither did my sister, my, not this one, but my middle sister. Yeah, we kind of just kept it quiet. We said we're going out.
Are the dresses like passed down from generation to generation, or is that like a new one?
You can make new ones. Actually, this white one right here, I actually got married in this. This was my wedding dress, but it was also my sister wore it. So really, it just, I mean, these basically just hang in the closet. I mean, not really everyday wear. Kind of like our evening gowns. You could say you just bust them out every once in a while. But yeah, I mean, you know, if there is a cousin who doesn't have the outfit, we'll gladly, you know, let him use it. You know, it'll probably last a couple more years.
So, and you might tell the class too, because this is an intro level class, intro to America. So they don't get a lot about one tribe, they get a little bit. So they do know about the Kinaalda, but not all the details, but about the first slap ceremony, for the baby, and the wedding.
And let's see what else you got.
If you could tell them maybe just a couple of things about those ceremonies, if you wouldn't mind.
First laugh is actually a funny story. Okay, here's my experience with first laugh.
This is the first laugh. It's a ceremony for the first time a baby laughs.
And if you don't catch it, something happens. So here's my story with that. My son now, who is 6 years old, when he was born, I was working full time at that time and didn't have time to break away to do, you know, ceremonies for my son. I basically, when my son was still in the womb, I went and had my ceremony done, and then I came back and went to work. He was born, and he was fine. He was a perfectly healthy baby. But I noticed a month later, he would just cry. He would cry for no reason, and his cry would sound like a howl. It wouldn't sound like a regular baby's cry. He would just howl. And I took him to the doctor, you know, he was fine, just regular baby, colicky, whatever. I didn't believe it. So my mom watched him one night, and she said, okay, that baby needs a ceremony. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, that baby laughed. And I'm like, no, that baby didn't laugh, because I'm with my son the whole time. And she's like, no, he laughed, I know it. So I'm like, okay, Mom, whatever. So I take some time off, take my son out to the reservation to have a ceremony on. Now, I didn't know it was going to be the first laugh ceremony. I thought it was just because there was something not right in his little universe. So I went out there, had a ceremony done. Grandma, he's laughed. You know, she right off the bat said, your son has laughed. Who was he laughing at? I didn't know. So basically the ceremony, I thought, for putting him back in harmony actually turned into the baby's first laugh ceremony. And basically what they do is my little son, small, is in the same hogan, different medicine man. But what he is he's a little guy, and he is covered in ashes. Just, you know, blessing the baby, he's laughed. The ashes are supposed to make the baby like changing woman. You know, he's gonna grow up strong, he's gonna be healthy. Basically, he just rolled in ashes. This little baby, you know, just in ashes. It's really a small ceremony, probably takes about an hour. But after he's done, clothes are back on, and he is just basically carried around until the ashes are rubbed off. I think it took about 3 days, and it finally all came off. I had to explain to my husband why first I took off with our child, because my husband is white, so he's like, what are you doing? I'm at grandma's, and, you know, later. But you know, it was such urgency. My mom's like, we gotta go. I'm like, okay. So in all the commotion, I actually forgot to call him and tell him. So for all he knows, we got kidnapped. But yeah, I told him what was going on, and you know, he's actually the one I went through my my wedding ceremony with. So he kind of, you know, okay, whatever. You know, he should have told me. But yeah, baby's laugh is something that's celebrated. You know, once again, new baby, boy, girl, doesn't matter what gender, just gets rolled in ashes, gets a prayer done. Baby's gonna grow up strong. It seems like each little milestone, you get a ceremony done. You've got your birth, which is the laugh. You've got puberty for boys and, you know, girls that boys are trying to bring back. You got your wedding, and after that, you get little ceremonies done to recenter yourself. You can basically, I can get one done now for my next year to be very prosperous. You know, my education's going to go good, my job's going to go good, you know, everything's going to go good for me. Just basic ceremony. You can pay for those to get done, and it's just like I said, everything. Your world gets chaos. Go to the medicine man, you get centered again. That's basically what it is. It's like going to church. You know, you go over there, your sins, do your beads, same concept.
I had a friend years ago, Irene, who is Navajo, and she was married to a non-Navajo, and they gave her a ceremony to balance her out from being around too many non-Navajos.
I think that might be what the wedding ceremony is, because basically in Navajo tradition, the woman is the one in charge. So basically what she didn't know anything about, it was all in Navajo, but basically all the blessings were to me. I'm the head of the household. The sheep is mine, you know, the house is mine, everything is mine, and he is basically my baby maker. That's all he is. He basically give me some kids. That's all he does. So that's pretty much how it is. You know, the order is woman, then man. When I don't want him anymore, I could send him out. So, you know, I mean, there's no lengthy divorce like out here. Well, yeah, but but same thing. If I don't want you, your stuff outside, and that's all it takes. You don't need, you know, attorneys or anything. That family is supposed to respect that. You don't want him anymore? Fine, take him back. So, so put him in his place. Anything else?
Anybody else have any questions? Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, our little helper. Yay.